Hi everyone, today I'll show you how you can make this nuke cinematic that a player on your map can activate after he got a certain amount of kills in a row. He can activate this nuke input trigger. If the nuke is activated, an actual nuke will display, and they can choose to kill all the persons in one area or kill everyone over the whole map. You can make it so that only people die or that actually the game ends. I'll show you that today. For this tutorial we also made two assets you can use. One of them is the nuke Niagara, so the nuke actual effect, and the code to actually make this work. So first, go over to your UEFN and download all the files you can get in our Discord. So in our Discord, if you're a regular member there, you can get access to all the files you need for this project. To be a regular role, you can simply subscribe on our Patreon for €5 a month, or just invite 3 friends or be a server booster. Then we'll go to our UEFN, open the folder, open the map where you want the nuke to be, or just open a new folder. So I'll just call this nuke tutorial, and then we'll create this one. Once our project is opened up, just go over to new project, and then you can have to find in your downloads, it probably be unzip the folder you got from us, and then you'll be able to find nuke Niagara of 4x and just open this file right here. Hold up guys, if you truly want to support us for all the free content we're giving you guys, go over to our Patreon, the first link in the description. There you can buy advanced systems. These can make your map truly unique. Okay, now back to the video. Once this file open up, you'll see you have this folder right here with the Niagara inside of it. This one's this one. If this one gives any errors or it's not displaying, just click it open, and then go over here to the blue module. There can be a little triangle, red triangle here. Then you just simply have to click this open and then check issue or something, and that will solve the issue. But basically what we'll have to do right now is we'll have to export this folder. So I'll migrate it, and then I'll search where all my projects are stored. So my projects are stored here in move spawn pads, with then the new project we make, so the nuke tutorial, or the other project where you want it to be. Just click it open, click on plugins, and paste everything here in the content. Once everything is pasted right there, we'll just open that one again. All right, so once the folder open up, there is a chance that there's nothing in here, like you see right now. Then you'll just simply have to restart your UEFN. Just click exit, restart your UEFN, and then things will be again in this folder. So I'll also do that right now. Just open again the folder, and then normally all the assets will be in there. So once we're here, we'll first create a new verse file. So you simply do that by add new verse file to project. Then we'll call this one nuke. We'll create an empty one, then double click to open it. And then in Visual Studio Code, just paste the code you can find in our Discord. Link is down below. And push verse changes as well. Once you build the verse code, you can simply drag out the verse class into the world. Then you'll see some settings that we have to fill in. So we'll need 2 class selectors for all players and for the player that gets the nuke by the killstreak, an input trigger, a tracker, and the amount of kills that you can set up here. So let's say you want it at 5, and the time until kill, but we'll go later over that. But first, we'll just go over to our island settings, and then there we'll put the class, the standard class, so the default class and identifier to class 1, so that's good. And then we have to go to Fortnite, take out the class selector right here. So we'll need one that goes to class to switch to is class 1. So this will basically be activated after the person activated the nuke, that they're back in the normal class. And then we'll also need one that switches to class 2. So that's normally all good. And then we can put these in. So for all players is this class 1. For the nuke is the class 2. And then we'll also need an input trigger. So I'll drag out an input trigger, and this input trigger is only activated by the class 2. So we'll just search it up, class, so select the class slot, class 2. And then we can also put like input here. Let's say, yeah, that's good enough, the keys, but you can make it so, let's say if they jump or something, that they do it, but I'll just put it at the interact key. That's good enough. And then we'll go over to here. We'll put it in as well. Okay, and now we have a tracker that we have to place down. So then we place down the tracker. Right here, we just start to track eliminations. And then here, your target value has to be the same as you put in here for the amount of kills. So let's just also put that at 5. The starting value will be 0. And then the tracker title, let's say Nuke. And then description, get a kill streak. All right, that's good. So players also know what's going on. To make it a bit more beautiful, you can use the Husk widget here, right here, but I won't. We just have to make sure that it's on sharing on individual. Normally that's good. Yeah, so we can save that. You can also make it so that's only headshots. Yeah, there's a lot of things you can do with this tracker right here. This basically will, if this tracker gets activated, then people will be able to get this input trigger, and by this input trigger, the nuke will activate. So now we'll also put the tracker into here. Then we've set up all the devices, but now we still have to set up the nuke. So for that, we'll need a cinematic sequence. We'll simply paste that one here. And then we'll say in our cinematic sequence, the play function, once a person has triggered on input pressed, then this cinematic sequences will play. And right now we'll make our cinematic sequence in our folder. So because we have the big explosion, I'll just make it right here, the cinematic, the level sequence, open it up. Okay, so, and this is the important part, because from here you're able to basically also add end round devices. So let's say if the nuke has activated, you can add special effects to the camera, but I'll go step by step. So first, we'll make sure that the nuke gets activated. First, go to here, to our Niagara, place it down on the ground. So normally it will start to explode. If you also, just a little tip, if you want to have it bigger, you can simply up the scale right here. So that will make it the size you like. So I think we'll just go by for 3. That's good enough. Then we'll go back to our level sequencer. And then we have to add it into our level sequencer. So if we click add and then actors to sequence, then we can just nuke, the nuke photo exit will be called. And then click on the little plus. And then we can have an Niagara component. And then in this Niagara component, we can have a VFX system toggle track. So basically here, I can put a keyframe right here. And this keyframe will basically make it activate the Niagara. So if I'll go over here, so if I'll play, you'll see it activates. Way better to do right here is just to make sure it's on trigger, so that it triggers once and not activates all the time. So that one is good. Now we'll also add in a camera. With that camera, we'll make sure that people really can see the whole blast. So we'll check that out real quick if everything's in frame. Looks good to me. The only thing that's really missing right here is a camera shake. So to make a camera shake, simply right click and then make a blueprint class. And then in your blueprint, you'll have this one right here, the camera shake base. So we'll select it, we'll create it. So nuke shake, double click to open. Right. And then in here, we have the camera shake pattern. There's a lot you can play around with, but I usually use the Perlin noise. And then the location, to be honest with you, I just throw these numbers up a bit, and I just see how it looks. So if of view, you can also mess a bit with that, but just you can really easy test it out if you save it and go back to your cinematic. To actually add it to your camera right here, just simply go to the track, go to camera shake, and then you have the nuke shake you made. So if we then drag it correctly, so make sure to view it that you're actually on the camera. So this looks pretty good, but as you see, it's pretty short. That's because if you go back to our shake, the timing here is currently at 1. If you put this at 0, then it basically will go on infinitely. But what I suggest you do is put it on something like 8, have it blend in a bit, like let's say after 3 seconds the shake really begins, and then also blend out, because after a certain amount of time the camera won't shake as much anymore because of the nuke. So let's say 2. And if you look at that right now, we'll see it's already completely different and a lot better. As you see, it blends in. It's really extreme right now because of the shake, but currently my sequence track is not long enough because it stops at this red line. So we'll just make sure everything fits on here. So if we play, you'll see it starts to shake lots right now. And then at the end, it slowly fades away, the shake. So I think that all looks pretty good. We'll just make sure this top track of our camera is also dragged out. Now, so our Niagara, our Nuke is already displaying. Our camera is already in place that people will see. Then now the only thing we still need is a damage volume. So just make sure that you're out of the camera right here. And we'll place down a damage volume. We'll take this simple damage volume. Then here for the damage volume, you can make it as big as you want. What you can also do is if you have an infinite zone wars like the one that's on our Patreon, you can attach this to your spawners that are moving so that it's currently in the same area of where the players are. So, but for now, I'll just place it flat on the ground and I'll make it a bit bigger. Now, we have to add this damage volume. You can also do it in code, but now that we're working with sequencers and it's maybe also cool for future projects, you can control a lot of devices using sequencers. So right here, we can do the same, is that we add the damage volume in, and then we add the track and then do gameplay events. Then in here, we can say, okay, so the first 5 seconds, no, the first 3 seconds, you want people, let's say 100 frames, you want people to still see. After that, they'll all have to die except the person that triggered the nuke. Except the player that actually triggers the nuke, in this code, he will have an invincibility. So if we add a keyframe right here and right click on it, and we go over to properties, you'll see gameplay event function is currently at none. So what we can do is right here, we can enable it. So from this onwards, our damage volume will be enabled. So basically everything will be killed. To make sure that the player, we'll put it on elimination, that the player that has the nuke isn't killed, we'll select the class to the class slots. So all the people in class 1 will be killed. And then in the beginning, it's best that you also place a little keyframe down and that you put it at disabled, so that every time it restarts, it's disabled. Also in the settings of your damage volume, just make sure enabled on phase none, because we'll fully control it with the sequence. And right here, we'll enable it, they'll get killed. And then here we can disable it again. So we'll go over to properties and then disable. All right, that's all good. You can also add here let's say an end round device. So after the whole cinematic is gone, right here, I can activate an end round device and the round will restart. Or I can also activate some text that will pop up. This is done by a HUD message device. So then we'll simply, like the same we did for the damage volume, we'll add it into here. If you place down a HUD, you can type it in here, you can find it, and you can add it, and you can control it with the gameplay events again. Then you can make it show at a certain time, at a certain keyframe, and then let it be disabled again at another keyframe. But now we're basically done. So we'll save this up and then we'll load into our session to check if everything works. If you're alone, just place down a sentry spawner, right here. We'll have our tracker right here. Yeah, so this is a setting you have to put on if you want to test it with sentries. So non-player elimination counts. For the sentries to respawn, just put this one here and I'll just put it as 0. Oh, okay, 1 is the minimum. So we'll launch the session right now. So now we're back in Fortnite. If we kill the sentry, you'll see our points add up. And then if we get to 5, you'll see we'll switch from class and we can push the interact key. And then currently nothing happens because we forgot one more thing in our UEFN, and that is to actually put our cinematic that we made in the cinematic sequence device. This happens way more to me than it should. if we go to our cinematic sequence, we'll put our Nuke cinematic in there. If we then push changes, everything will be working. Alright, so once we're loaded in, we can kill the sentry right here 5 times. And then you'll see we get the check mark and we can click the interact key. So as you see, everything explodes. We see the view we want to see. And I'm currently also getting killed. This is because I haven't fully made the settings correct in our UEFN in the first manager right here. So this is the time until kill. This is an important one. This will basically delay how long it will take for the player that activated it to go back to the normal class where the normal people are in. So if I just put it at 150, so that's 5 seconds. So if I type in 5 here, then I won't get killed. So that was basically it, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something. Go to our Discord for all the assets and the code you need. If you want any advanced systems, like we just released our peace control, go to our Patreon, support us from there, buy our products, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.